We're in Denver, Colorado at EnerCom's 19th annual Oil and Gas Conference. I have the pleasure of welcoming David Preng, President of Preng and Associates. Hi, David.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you again.
Good to see you. What activities are you seeing at the senior level?
Well, at the senior level, let's say the CEO, COO level, we're seeing quite a bit of activity. Over the last, let's say, 12 to 30 months, there have been 20 or 21 major changes at that level. Been 4 in Canada, Encana, Talisman, Penn West, Nexen. Here in Denver, Bonanza Creek, Anschutz, Bill Barrett, everything from Oxy to Marathon to Chesapeake, Sandridge, ATP, and many others. And it's been interesting watching these companies vie for talent and really determine what they need and then go after and try to attract. Also interesting, in a couple of the cases, in the case of Bill Barrett and Gulfport, which is another one I mentioned, they've stayed internal. So they're looking and saying that the best talent is the devil we know versus the devil we don't know.
What about at the board level? What are you seeing there?
At the board level, it's interesting. I'm seeing a couple of boards really take and do a very in-depth, deep dive analysis, peeling back, taking a, let's say, blank sheet of paper, looking at and saying, what are the skill sets that we need to have on the board? If we were the shareholders and we're going to invest in this company, what are the attributes that we want? And that usually boils down from anywhere 8 to 9, maybe 12 different attributes. And then looking at the existing directors and saying, what talent do we have on the board? And this points out anything that's missing or weaknesses. And then as they're bringing new board members on, or if someone steps off, it really gives them a framework to utilize in determining what they want in the skill sets. The other thing I'm seeing at the board level is quite a bit of demand for technical expertise, to have the oversight on the board to provide that, for the shareholders, and that's good. But the problem today is that if I'm on the board of, let's say, a Whiting or a Cimarex, or taking some of the other companies that are here, can I be on another company's board? And the answer is normally no, from a technical standpoint, because there's a conflict of interest. We're going to be in the same basins, and if not today, potentially in the next resource play. So you rarely find let's say, technical person on more than one board at a time.
David, with baby boomers retiring, how's the pipeline of senior people to replace them?
Well, pipeline is thin. I mean, as I mentioned to you last year when we talked, you look at just what came out of the universities, and the typical example I use, if I go to just the undergraduate petroleum engineers at the University of Texas in the 80 to 84 period, they were graduating between 110 and 125 a year. 89, 90, 91, they averaged 9. As I mentioned to you in the past, I was on the board of Remington Oil and Gas and was with them in September of 2001 and was in New York at 9/11, and I drove back to Texas with the CEO and head of IR from Quicksilver. And it was interesting, we bonded obviously, as you can imagine, but I asked them, how did they get into the Antrim Shale? And the CEO explained to me that they had followed that trend, and at the end of the day wanted to get in it, and the person who was the most knowledgeable was a Shell geoscientist. And to get him to move from Shell over to Quicksilver, what they did was, I thought was kind of unique. They set up 3 half scholarships in his name. But the other thing that was revealing on the trip, as late as 2001, 1/3 of the incoming geological freshman class at University of Texas, 1/3 of them had Quicksilver scholarships. And another statistic just to throw out, as late as 2008, the total number of undergraduate petroleum engineers from all the universities in the United States, and there's 17 of them at the time, was only 600. So there is a shortage, and people who are good are getting recognized, and people in my profession are following their careers.
What can the industry do to attract more?
Well, they are doing a lot. If you look at the statistics, I think it was 2010 or 11, the graduates of undergraduate petroleum went over 1,000, and I think this past year they were just north of 1,400. So the message is getting out. I think people are looking at the investment that's coming into the energy industry, the resource plays, and more people that are looking and wanting to get in engineering are looking at petroleum as an alternative.
Well, David, we sure appreciate your time, and as always, great insight.
Great being back here at EnerCom, which is the best energy conference.
Thank you. I'm Quinn Nguyen for oilandgas360.com.